HARK, we are here. It is time for yet another episode of Regroup Phase in Star Wars Unlimited. This week is not a gameplay week. This week is an art week. What I mean by that is that as part of the preparation for preview season, Xander and the team put out a ton of art, and we're going to talk about a lot of that here in a moment, plus an art stream and an art article. There's a lot of things that are going on. Links to the stream and the article and the Twitter previews in the links below in the description, so check those out when you get the opportunity to do so. We're going to go through each of these art pieces first, then we're going to go through the stream, and that'll probably be about it for this week with Regroup Phase, because like I said, it's all art, no real gameplay. But this is still an important video because this showcases our future for Set 2 Shadows of the Galaxy. So without any further ado, let's get right into all of this lovely art. All right, so we're going to go through the tidbits from the April 10th stream that was about the art direction in the game a little bit later, but I wanted to go over a lot of the art images that we got already as part of that stream and then one previous to this, because there's a lot of really cool things in here. There's a lot of really cool things that I want to just talk about right now. And there are some things that the art is foretelling about the set itself that the individual pieces of art for the focus aren't necessarily leading you on to believe. I know that might not make sense. I'll be clear later on. Doesn't matter. Let's get to this first piece of art that I think a lot of people are going to be super excited about. And that is Dr. Aphra. This picture is actually very different from the other piece of art that we had, which you can see right here. This is this. So that's why one of the reasons why I believe with these two separate pieces of art, we will get Aphra leader and an Aphra unit. I imagine this is actually going to be the unit and this is going to be the leader, but I could be wrong. But I do believe it will be two separate things, a leader and a unit. What aspect combination will they be? No idea. There's a lot of interesting things that are going on with this that we don't know specifically just yet. But with that all said, Aphra here, very popular character from the Marvel Comics run of Darth Vader. She was so popular, she ended up getting her own spinoff with BT and 000, which I imagine are also coming in this set. Lots of really cool things that are going on with this character. I'm excited. I imagine she'll be coming. That'll be my guess. Could be Vigilance. Who knows? Exciting nonetheless. Next question. We have here, this was from the Star Wars Unlimited FFG Twitter account, and this is Salacious B. Crumb, the little bird thing puppet from Return of the Jedi that everybody likes making fun of. It bites Jabba's tail towards the end of this arc in Return of the Jedi, just before Leia kills Jabba the Hutt and becomes the Hutt Slayer herself. That shit needs to be a story about her gaining fame for being the person to kill Jabba the Hutt. Anyway, crazy little dude, probably going to be a one-cost little familiar thing that fits into the Jabba the Hutt crime deck. We'll see how that moves forward. Really cool. Happy to see this. Next card though, or next art though, the Daimyo has arrived. This is going to be super interesting. Now, I don't know if they're going to make a Boba Fett leader, a second Boba Fett leader this early. But if they do, I'm on board, because I loved Book of Boba Fett. I thought it was an incredible TV show. Sure, it is effectively to a certain point Mandalorian season 2.5, but I don't have a problem with that because I love the Mandalorian as well, as we've talked about before. This art here with the damage and the scratches and obviously the little dent here on the helmet and the pieces of armor, but he's set up in his almost pseudo-Tuscan robes here. Very, very cool piece of art. The only thing it's missing, Fennec Shand sitting on the side drinking some local liquor. But this is a really, really, really cool piece of art. Next, we have our first member of the Bad Batch. This is Echo. And I do believe we will be getting all members of the Bad Batch as separate units, but I don't know if they're going to do the same thing like they did with Hera and the Spectres, where one is a commander or a leader and the others are just regular units that go into the Bad Batch list, or if they're all going to get units that will be under a separate leader, or potentially something like Leia, where they get a leader and a unit and then the rest of them get units. Echo here, super happy to see him. Very interesting design here, the pistol, all that other stuff. He's not using the right pistol, but I do like the design of this pistol anyway. Next, we have the full art here of Emphas Nest. Very cool design here. You get to see the train rails here, and she's just a badass, just standing on the train. No mag boots to speak of. That's actually really cool. We have here the Haxian Brood Bounty Hunter Atticus Rex. Now, this is specifically from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn Entertainment. You can see Kashyyyk burning in the background. but that is what this guy is from. Now, I believe he may have, and I'm not sure about this, but if I remember correctly, he has appeared in the War of the Bounty Hunters. But this character originated, as far as I know, in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which gives me hope that we might see a Cal Kestis in this set. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Given the existence of one of the members of the Haxian Brood, specifically Atticus Rex, we can kind of infer other things that are coming into the set based upon what we see right here, right now. And this guy's pretty dope. He's got a jetpack, got a flamethrower. He's going to blast you. He's basically a knockoff Boba Fett, but just in different armor. And I think he's really cool. Next, we have Jabba the Hutt. This is another representation of everybody's favorite Hutt crime lord with his little tattoo, which was a card in the original Star Wars customizable card game, whatever. There's Crumb. There's some meat glowing in the background, this little thing that he slurps up later. This is probably the leader and obviously the leader unit as well. It'll be interesting to see what Jabba the Hutt does in set 2. I imagine it could be something similar to what his unit does, where you get benefits based on using maybe not even just events, but trick events, so on and so forth. It should be very interesting to see what this Jabba the Hutt does. Art is on point, though. Next, we have what I believe is a Kessel Enforcer. These guys were from Solo, a Star Wars story. I believe that's what this character is represented, but this is going to be one of our probably generic Enforcer underworld dudes that exists. And he's got a pretty cool blaster, some armor and stuff like that, little visor here. This is another piece that I'm talking about that shows more than just the art. This is the Tusken Raiders celebrating the acquirement of the Krayt Dragon Pearl, which people who are familiar with Star Wars Galaxies know that these were used in Jedi lightsabers to increase the power. People who played Knights of the Republic, same thing. You get a Krayt Dragon Pearl. It gives you some specific bonuses based upon what you can do with your lightsabers. They treasure this thing because it is very rare to get. But this whole scene is from Episode 1, Season 2, The Marshal of the Mandalorian, featuring Cobb Vanth. So with this piece of art in here, it doesn't guarantee it, but it leans very heavily. First of all, I am correct. This set will feature things from seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. But if this is here, they can't not do Cobb Vanth. So if Cobb Vanth pops up as a unit, doesn't have to be a leader. If he pops up as a unit, I'm going to be happy. And this is going to be really cool moving forward. It'll be interesting to see what this represents, probably an event in terms of what they're going to do with this. But this art is absolutely incredible, and I'm very excited for it. Next, we have those dastardly pikes. I don't know what this specifically represents. It could be Book of Boba Fett, but it also could be, I believe it's season 5 or 6 of the Clone Wars with the Shadow Collective. The Black Sun mixed with the Crimson Dawn, mixed with the Mandalorian Super Commandos, mixed with the Pike Syndicate. All of those together come together to be the Shadow Collective. So actually, Crimson Dawn might have come after that. I'm not sure. That's something that I need to learn more about. But these guys are cool. This is probably just a basic Pike unit, which should be fun moving forward. Next, we have Kira. A lot of representation in Solo, a Star Wars story, which makes a lot of sense given Shadows of the Galaxy. That's why we're seeing more things about Crimson Dawn, more things about the Shadow Syndicate, Shadow Collective, excuse me. And then obviously that Maul we saw earlier, which is more fitting to his Shadow Collective version from Clone Wars. But this Kira here represents her in that fight against Dryden Voss, which I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him in this set, which should be super exciting. Next, we have a Quarren bounty hunter. I tried to look up the information about it. He's got that same, it's not a puck, but it's like a bounty information piece that Mando had early in the seasons of The Mandalorian. This guy's actually using a DC-15 blaster rifle, which is very interesting. I believe it's the 15. But this is a Quarren hunter running around trying to find somebody. This is actually a really cool piece of art. I don't know if it's somebody specific or it could just be a generic bounty hunter that would be in this set, but it should be very interesting to see what that ends up being. We have here a piece of art that I like to call Swindle because it is Han Solo and Chewie getting ready to swindle Dryden Voss by having somebody else take Emphas Nest's place when the Crimson Dawn comes down to attack them, and then him doing his little duel with Dryden at the end, which results in the death of Dryden and Kira taking over Crimson Dawn from that point on. So cool art here. This is probably an event. I imagine it can't really be anything other than an event, but it's going to be pretty cool nonetheless. Our next batcher here is going to be Tech. This actually looks like it might be from the last scene of season 2 of the Bad Batch, because Echo was on that train earlier, as we saw, which you can see this is definitely reminiscent of that train from the train scene towards the end. And then this is Tech probably getting on at the beginning of that adventure of that train. Could also just be the Marauder itself. Not entirely sure. We'll get the information later on. But actually, I really hope we do see the Marauder as a ship in this set, Shadows of the Galaxy, tied to the Bad Batch specifically. I wonder if the Bad Batch will have a trait associated with them or not. So the next two are actually going to be very interesting. We have Zuckuss, a bounty hunter, and his faithful companion, Forlom, also a bounty hunter. What I gathered is that this was the same artist that did these, and the prompt was they needed to be working together, shooting something. But you can also kind of make it look like they're shooting at each other. These are two of the bounty hunters that were on the Executor and in episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. Very cool. Zuckuss and Miss Hunter has been a very popular card in the Star Wars customizable card game. And Forlom with his concussion rifle, same thing. Two very popular characters in that game, two very popular cards. Hopefully we can get some cool stuff out of these two guys in this set. We managed to get another piece of art from Twitter that showcases something I'm very excited about for this set, and I know a bunch of other people are excited. It's a sub-theme for Shadows of the Galaxy. We've already seen two other members of this group, but it's time for the leader, and that is Hunter. Given this design for this art here, link to this in the description below. This is Hunter. It's our leader with his knife, his little blaster pistol, DC-15, DC-17 blaster pistol, one of the two. They constantly mischaracterize this blaster pistol, so I don't know exactly what it is totally officially called, but this is the training segment from the very beginning of Bad Batch when they're doing their training in the arena, and then when they see Crosshair switch over to the black armor because he's going to be leading the new forces of the elite trooper units for the Empire shortly before the rest of the Bad Batch flee and say, I'm out of here. But this is definitely that training area. This art on Hunter is absolutely incredible. I'm excited. This is probably a leader, given the way some art direction can be tipped off to see if certain things are leaders or not. With our two Aphra and our two Cad Bane images, I don't know exactly which one's going to be which. I have a certain guess that the art piece that we saw, the big one from this episode for Aphra, is the leader art, but the combination of the three different characters, Maul, Aphra, and Cad Bane from the last episode, that Cad Bane, I believe, is going to be the leader going forward, if he is a leader. Same thing for Aphra, if she's a leader. Two copies of each piece of art, I'm sure they are leaders. But Hunter here, it'll be interesting to see how he plays and what ends up being the complete goal of the deck. If it does end up being a Spectre style deck that allows you to play Clone Force 99 members regardless of what aspect they are, I hope it's a little bit better than Hera that has an additional ability on the front, because I think that's what Hera is significantly lacking at the moment, is that additional leader ability. Because right now as it stands, Hera, you do nothing on her front side, and on her leader unit side, she gets chumped up pretty quickly before you get to continue that experience token engine. But Hunter here, he's cool, he's ready to go, and I'm hoping a really cool Clone Force 99 / Bad Batch deck can come out of Shadows of the Galaxy. We're still missing two members of the batch, Wrecker and Crosshair, 3 if you count Omega, 4 if you count Gonki. Hopefully we get to see all of those. Our last piece of art comes by way of the FFG, Unlimited FFG Twitter account, which gives us our 4th member of the batch. That is good old Crosshair. A good soldier follows orders. This was part of a tweet, which is linked below, that asks us to figure out what its name is. We know he's Crosshair. What his subtitle is, not entirely sure. I'm thinking good soldier, but we'll find out specifically. This was recorded before they reveal it. This was showcased to us on Monday. They should reveal the full thing on Tuesday, which is the day before this video goes live, which will be addressed in the next video, obviously. What his aspect is going to be, which I'm actually not entirely sure. I don't know how they're going to do the Batchers specifically, if we're going to get them in 2 aspects or in all 4 aspects to mirror, like I said before with Hunter, the way that Hera runs her Spectres, where they can just be everything all together. I am hoping that they try to lean more towards giving them 2 aspects. Wrecker is obviously an aggression hero, so we could see something like Aggression Command or Aggression Vigilance if they decide to go with some of the other characters as Vigilance. Crosshair does seem like a vigilant character, where he thinks and does things but follows the orders that he's supposed to, until, you know, he doesn't, obviously. But this should be a fun character to see on the battlefield, and probably, depending on what they show us tomorrow, which is Tuesday as of recording, might be our first Bad Batch character unit revealed officially as part of Shadows of the Galaxy. On April 10th, Fantasy Flight Games presented to us the art direction of Star Wars Unlimited in their FFG Live. And our trio of presenters here was, of course, Xander, our community engagement specialist. We have Tyler, senior game designer, and then we had Tony Bratt, who is the managing art director. And I forgot to put the OR into his title here on my notes, so we'll change that right now. There's not a whole lot that I can actually cover here. There's a couple of things that I will note that were important about the stream itself, but you really should go through and watch this stream yourself. Link in the description below, because there's a lot of really cool insight to the art process and a couple of the different things. Plus, you get to see all the art that I just showcased to you earlier in this episode. But hearing them communicate the art style and the presentation and the process they go through with the artists that they have, which one of the things that was noted here is that they have more artists for the game outside of the United States than inside the United States, which is pretty cool. That's a large worldwide representation for this game that a lot of us love to play and even more people love to look at. One thing I will advise, hide the stream replay chat because it's bad. Realistically, the couple of portions here that we did get, hyperspaces are confirmed for set 2. The art from set 1 and set 2, so Spark of Rebellion and Shadows of the Galaxy, were all commissioned in one big clump. So a lot of the styles are going to be very similar, but I think a lot of people have already seen an improvement of art with set 2, which I agree. I think it's less the quality is getting better and more the quality is getting more consistent. Well, a couple of things here that we did have was Tyler specifically pulls together the art brief from the design team about what cards should look like and sends them to Tony. Tony works with the art team at FFG to get all of the data together and submit these proposals to the artists that are around the world that work on Star Wars Unlimited. And their main goal is to make sure that the art feels like Star Wars. And honestly, it really does. It feels like I'm playing Star Wars cards when I'm playing Star Wars Unlimited with other players. They wanted to make sure that the visual style that they had for the game, so our pseudo comic book-y look, encompasses all of Star Wars media. So live action, animation, comics, novels, video games. They want to make sure that everything fits in the game in one universal style, which I think is a great decision. As much as I love the old FFG art from Destiny and from the LCG and from games like Outer Rim and Imperial Assault, it is very important to make sure that everything can be represented in an equal style. And without having to reuse the old art, just bringing a whole new batch of artists in and get a bunch of different things, you can get styles and representations that the company didn't have before with the old art. So I love the old art, but I think the new art is going in the right direction moving forward. So the most challenging part of the job, Tony specifically says, is that to make sure that the art gets finished on time. There are obviously circumstances that occur that are outside of certain people's control, but to make sure that everything gets done so it can get sent to the printers and all the cards can get printed in the way that it's supposed to be being done. Tony's favorite part of seeing of the job specifically is seeing all the different amazing things that the artists come up with, the briefs that they're given, whether a person comes and brings one sketch or a fully completed product and other people bring multiple sketches. Everything in between Tony really enjoys. And Tyler's favorite part is very similar, but with the art experience is seeing things that are very personal to him come to life from the artists. And I think that's really cool. I think the art direction of set 1 is pretty good. You know what you're looking at, you know what's happening, you know what is supposed to be being done with each card as it's represented to you. You might not like the look of Chewie, but that is clearly Chewie. You might not like the look of Han, but it is clearly Han. You might not like the look of any other different things, but it is clearly the thing that you see in front of you and is very good at representing what it is supposed to represent. And that's the most important part. So, like I said, this is a shorter section specifically because there are more things that they talk about that are directly art related, and a big chunk of the video was taken up by them showcasing the art, which we've already covered. But again, please go watch this specific stream so that way you can get all of the art information and they can give it to you directly from themselves. It's a short stream. It's only about 27 minutes, 28 minutes, but well worth the time spent watching it. And yeah, and that is it for this episode of Regroup Phase. Tons of art to check out. Lots of cool things coming for Shadows of the Galaxy. I'm very hyped for this set, as you saw in the last Regroup Phase episode where we talked about the previews from the starter deck. I want to see more cards, and we're definitely going to see more cards. Supposedly this coming, I believe, as of recording, the next stream that should be coming up, which is on Wednesday the 17th, should have some more mechanics shown to us. So technically, you're watching this video after that stream has happened, but it should be interesting to see what we're going to cover in the next episode of Regroup Phase in terms of mechanics from Shadows of the Galaxy. I hope we can get a couple of card previews, get some cool stuff going forward, but I'm excited. We already know moving forward I'm going to be all Mando all the time, but you'll understand why that's super important as we get closer and closer. But art showcasing really cool stuff. Lots of cool decks are going to be coming out. Lots of cool characters are going to be coming. This is probably going to be one of the most flavorful sets in terms of characters because there are so many different representations they can grab from for Shadows of the Galaxy. And we've already seen a bunch of those representations in the card previews before and the art in this week. So that's fantastic. That's it. We're done. Make sure to like this video, comment on it as well. Your favorite piece of art that you've seen. Share the video with a friend. Check out all the playlists that I have. Subscribe to this lovely Star Wars Unlimited YouTube channel. We do have memberships active. We do have Super Thanks active. So if you'd like to show some support, you can do so with those methods, working towards getting ad revenue into the channel. So hopefully that should be happening within the next couple of months. Follow me on all my lovely social medias at RybackStun, wherever you can find me. That's it. We're done. Enjoy your week of Star Wars Unlimited. We've got Action Phase gameplay coming for you on Friday. So enjoy that. Have fun. Take care. And with that, I will see you in the stars.